Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. A weekend that was supposed to be a glorious start to a new professional Spanish league turned into chaos with games being postponed and referees being on a strike. We're going to break it down and talk about it here on She Scores Bangers. If I sound a little bit stuffy and sick, I am feeling slightly under the weather, but that's not going to stop us from talking about what the hell is going over in the Spanish league. Before we start talking about the ongoing affairs, it's going to be important to understand what the league was before the current season. So the Premier Division, which is the female or women's equivalent of the La Liga over in Spain, was ran and pretty much completely overseen by the Royal Spanish Football Association, best known as the RFEF, which is what we're going to be referring to them in this video. Now, that football association is pretty much the equivalent of FA over in England. And with them having complete control of the league, they manage the player wages, the officials, the referees, pretty much anybody that needed to get paid through the league. They managed all of that. There were also no specific player union and any kind of rights or bargains or deals that the players wanted to strike. They'd go straight to the football association. That's exactly how it ran for the last 10 to 11 years. Last year, the league was granted the first professionalized league status and was going to officially kick off as a professional league this year. It was also rebranded and renamed into LIGA F. A few changes that happened was instead of having 18 teams in the first division, it was reduced into 16 teams. And the LPFF, which is the Spanish league organizational body that's pretty much the league, was to take charge because it just became professionalized. Now, what the main difference is and what the biggest rule change is pretty much money. It was announced 2 weeks ago that DAZN struck a deal that is worth 17 million euros that allowed them, it gave them rights to stream all these games on YouTube for free. This also meant that the players were going to have a pay raise. The prize money for the end of the league, so when the team wins the league, obviously they have a prize money, that has significantly increased. And they've also been able to establish a player union, kind of similar to the PFA, that would deal with the issues that the players might have or any kind of bargains or deals. So basically, the players now have a union. What does that mean for the Spanish Football Association is that they no longer take money from the league to pay the players. It is the league and the clubs paying the players rather than the Football Association. However, they are still responsible for licensing the referees that the league uses, but they do not handle their pay, and this is where it gets really tricky. What is currently happening is that the referees and the Football Association are currently fighting and bargaining with the league to pay them more. Now, the referees are going over to the Spanish Association because it is them who license them. It is them who sends them over or makes them qualified to work for Liga F. So what the referees are demanding is to be paid 50,000 euros per season. Meanwhile, the minimum wage for the players in the league is 60,000 euros. So technically, they're demanding to be paid more than at least 40% of these players, or the players that are being paid minimum pay in the league. Before the League One Professional, the RFEF was paying these referees 3,000 euros a game. But when this whole switchover happened, the RFEF didn't really have a plan of how the referees were going to be paid. Are they going to be on the same kind of contract? There's really no communication, and this is exactly why everything is happening. The National Sports Council, or the kind of government side of things, came in and said, okay, let's calm everything down and we're going to be willing to pay you 25,000 euros a year or a season, which actually is a pretty good deal because the average salary in Spain is 24,000 euros. And before you even know it, the RFEF and the referees rejected it. So they rejected the 25,000 euros that the council was willing to help and pay. And they also rejected the 16,000 euros that the league also offered. And the referees have come out and said that they're not willing to officiate any of the games unless a deal is struck. What this meant was that the teams literally had to pretend like they had a normal game day. Some teams had to travel, some teams had to literally take a 10-hour bus ride to get to those venues, come out, warm up, like literally pretend like they were having a game in 30 minutes. Now, I tried to look a little bit into why those teams were going, knowing damn well these games are going to be canceled, and I couldn't find anything specific. But from how football has worked and some of the strikes that we've seen happen in football, a lot of the teams that don't show up either have to pay a fee, some of them get points deducted, and that's really not what the teams are wanting to do or willing to risk. I'm not sure if it's the same consequences with them, but I assume it's kind of on the same page where they were going to face some unpleasant news from the league if they were not to show up at all. And the main point that these refs are trying to make is that if we're just going professional, if these players are getting a pay raise, we want to be paid like our counterparts in the men's La Liga. Now, if you know a thing or two, that's obviously not going to happen. The officials in the La Liga get paid 6 times more than the 50,000 that they're asking for. So it's ludicrous numbers that they're trying to, somewhat match. The budgeting is completely different. I'm a huge advocate for making sure you're paying officials, referees, and everybody involved in the game, but at the same time, you're actually doing more harm than you are doing good. In fact, I bet if you were to come in on that 16K deal, in the next year or two, you were going to be paid a lot more than what you're currently asking for. When they're rejecting every kind of offer on the table, they're delaying this possibility of them getting to that money. Women's soccer is as hot as it's ever been. I think the expectations going into this season were absolutely, through the roof. The fact that DAZN picked up this 5-year deal and is going to be streaming these games for free is, incredible. Honestly, one of the best things that could happen for the game right now. And it has just been absolutely chaotic. Really bad communication all over the place. People being very stubborn and not willing to accommodate anything. And it has caused a lot of disappointment for fans, for players, and I would say even the people involved who are investing money. For example, the Walsh deal that took place last week, 400K, that's pocket change for the men's game. That's really nothing, and it's okay that right now we're in that pocket change kind of dimension because we won't be in the next few years because we are on the right track. So when you do this kind of huge strike and really not willing to accommodate anything, you're almost shooting yourself because you have this great opportunity where in the next 2 years you will get to exactly what you want to demand. But with you striking and doing all this fuss, you've delayed this for the next 3-4 years. Like, it's hell, even the Barcelona game that didn't even kick off, it was just the players warming up. Obviously, Lucy Bronze and Walsh were there, and so a lot of eyes were on that. But the stream had 26,000 people, and the game wasn't even played. Like, that's an insane number just to watch two teams warm up. Now imagine if that game was streamed, or imagine if all the other games earlier on in the weekend were streamed. You were going to hit numbers you probably never seen before, and that's exactly what the weekend was supposed to be. By the look of things, it looks like next weekend's also going to be postponed, which honestly brings up another issue of scheduling. You're going to keep postponing these games, but when the hell are you going to be playing them? There's other domestic cups and leagues going on, or will start to go on. You also have some of these teams in the Champions League. So when are you going to be rescheduling these games that you're just like postponing every other weekend? It's not good. One thing that I want to quickly touch up on, if I used any kind of words or organizational names that aren't pronounced the right way, I can't read Spanish, I don't understand Spanish, I don't speak Spanish. A lot of the research and work that went into this was a little bit hard because everything that was being translated would like come up as a cooking recipe, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this journalist is not talking about putting together a banana cake. So if certain pronunciations or translations are not exactly spot on, do let me know. I'm willing to learn. Please share your thoughts on this whole chaotic kind of shenanigan that's going on over in Spain. What do you think could be a deal? What do you think should happen? What do you think will happen? I want to hear all your thoughts and opinions on this. On top of that, make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube and follow us on Twitter to stay updated and to continue enjoying the beautiful game. I will see you later.